What's up, Crash Nation? This is Jonathan Wood. I'm joined here with Jacob and Joshua Wood. This is episode number 8. We're going to be talking about new Bloomfield, some new things we got coming to you. We're going to hear from Dylan Chilton and Justin Albin. So new Bloomfield, we'll start off with that. We had over 50 cars. And then came down to Dylan Chilton came home with the win. He passed Nathan Dummermuth on the last lap. Dylan Bronner came home third. Gosh, you're going to take it. I can't see that far.
Yeah, and Kyle Wardenhausen rounded out top 4. James Fisher top 5. Shaylin Worthy ended up winning Powder Puff. Joanna Dow followed by Andrew Burton there. Really some good racing all the way around. I have to excuse my blind brother.
Yeah. So we still had a little bit of issues with the watering of the track that kind of, slowed the heat down a little bit. But in the end, the track came around. It was nice and tacky. Made for some great racing. I believe we had some altercations that took place between some of the drivers. Sound like Dylan Chilton, sound like Dylan White and who was that? The 420 and a half. Yeah, kind of got
Ricky
Pruitt. It wasn't really between them two. I think it was Ricky's wife.
Yeah, so what happened is in the heat, we kind of touched on it a little bit last week, but in the heat, Dylan went back to his old driving style and decided to let her go through the center and junk his stuff. And on Ricky Pruitt, and his family didn't take a liking to that too much. But super close heat races. We had a couple of the heats came down to the last lap. And what did you guys think of the turnout?
Yeah, I thought it was good. It seemed like there was a lot of fresh, more fresh cars than I would have thought. Coming from the second show, it seemed like some of the hometown boys from around that area was saving their good stuff for that, and I think that made for a little better racing for them guys. They all had their fresh stuff, but yeah, I thought the turnout was good. If we're keeping these numbers up, that it's gonna be hard to compete with later on in the year. But yeah, it's got some momentum rolling for sure.
Yeah, we got to see Seth the West Blower. I kind of was doing a pit walkthrough and I found out his real nickname should be Not So Some Shady. And they kind of told me I gave him the wrong nickname, so I changed that up through the year. He's going to have to get a new sticker on his car because he actually put the Young Gun on his car. And so I went ahead and announced it for New Bloomfield, but I kind of got some slack over not calling him Not So Some Shady. So moving on, we're going to call you that, Seth. So better put a new sticker on it. And yeah, one of the drivers brought 4 cars. That was Piter.
Barely made the feature still.
Yeah, I was giving him crap before the race. I said, hey, you better at least make the feature driving 4 cars.
No, I want to give a shout out to him and Becky's Towing and the Millard Family Chapels. That race was only supposed to pay $700, and they all chipped in and made it 1,000 and paid everybody down. So we were really appreciative of that. That was kind of a freak deal. They just started going up to the announcer stand and giving the guys money. And I mean, if you guys show up, that's what happens. So we appreciate them businesses helping us out.
Yeah, we had a bunch of people just handing me cash, and I'm like, Joshua, what do you want to do with all these hundreds? I mean, Becky's Towing, they put $400 into that. They put 100 towards the powder puff. They added 100 to first place, and then they paid 7th and 8th, I believe.
Yep.
Millard's paid 5th and 6th for $100. They did $50 each, and then we had JP Lawn Care. They had donated another 100 to the winner, so that was awesome. And another thing that I thought was really cool is so right when Dylan crossed the line to win, some little kid runs up to the announcer stand and says, "That's my favorite driver right there. He's my man, number 56." I said, so Blaine goes, "No, whoever's driving 56, my new favorite driver." And I just thought that was cool. He's like waving his, like if you look on the YouTube video, he's down there like waving his like glow stick or whatever he had his hand at him. He was all pumped up. And yeah, I can't wait to see. So next race, I think Joshua and I are going to figure out something so I can see the running order better, because he was over there going, "These two right here, they're coming across," and I was trying to figure out who he's even talking about. I thought it was Nate and Dylan, but I wasn't for sure until he's like pointing them out as they're driving by. So
yeah. So Dylan, he was I think he was 3/4 of a track down when Nate took the white flag. And just for those that don't know, so Jessica, which is Jacob's wife, she'll say the numbers. And Dylan, he had or when Nate had such a big lead, she was just saying 1. And then on that last lap, Nate came through, and then Dylan came through, and I was just like, holy smokes. I don't think she said Dylan's number until like a little bit later after, like he still got the checkered, obviously, but I was just like standing up, and Jonathan doesn't have his headset on, and I was excited because Dylan ran him down at the end. So
I never wear a headset because I just I like hearing the cars and the crowd, and you can't hear all that in the headset. And I like taking it all in. Kind of helps me get a little feedback on the announcing too. So, but congrats to the winners. Awesome show. I mean, they were coming across the line door to door, and on the video you can even see them. They're going freaking nuts inside their cars, and that always just gets me excited, seeing the passion coming out through actual actions. So I thought that was cool.
Yeah, the TikTok video that Jonathan had showed it really good, how far behind he was on the white flag lap and how much, ground he made up. But that was a cool video that I seen.
Oh yeah. The TikTok, I've got more followers than I do on YouTube. So I think that video of Joshua and the Derby, but the week before, it's got like 8,000 views right now. So you got to hit all the social media spots, but nothing compares to the amount of feedback I'm getting on Spotify on these podcasts are going over like crazy. So we appreciate all the supporters that listening to all the podcasts too. I want to say thank you all for, giving us ratings and sharing our stuff and giving us feedback, because I really see it on the analytics. So let's talk about Eldon coming up.
June
Jacob.
4th.
So June 4th, Jacob's got me all excited. I'm gonna kind of let him tell you about what
You
you
guys, this track is gonna be badass. It's huge. I can't wait for everybody to see it. I'm jealous of all the drivers. I wish I could drive on it. It's gonna be so awesome. It's huge. I think he said it's what did I say, 120 by 260. So it'd be bigger than California now. So I cannot wait for all the drivers to see it. I got pumped tonight when I went to the track and seen it. It's exciting. I want to drive on it, but it's cool. I can't wait.
And it's the good dirt too. So the dirt will still be like the same. So it'll be tacky and huge, which double whammy for some of these drivers.
It's gonna be so awesome.
I'm super excited. Jacob calls and he's like, "Hey, new track. Can't wait. It's freaking crazy." And he's like he said, he's so pumped up and gets me all pumped. I'm gonna go look at it tomorrow just to see how big it is because it sounds huge.
It's gonna blow people's minds. I mean, how big it is compared to what it was. So
yeah, and it's
definitely
not just figure 8 on that track June 4th. We got derbies coming, so it'll be they'll be able to get some steam.
Oh yeah,
there's gonna be some junk made, I promise. There's gonna be some junk with the kind of drivers we got that show up to our shows. There's gonna be some junk made, I promise. It's gonna be fun to watch.
Yeah, it's gonna be fun to watch, and I'm kind of excited to see how the figure 8's gonna go as well on a big track like that. We haven't really got to see that in Eldon, and I know how tacky it is on normally on a little track, so I'm excited to see how fast these guys get up and go. Should make for some really good racing, and on tracks like that, I think it gives some of the people that run like the bigger engines a little bit more of a chance against these Ecotechs. So I'll be excited to see kind of who wins it and who brings it home. So June 4th, what time we starting that? Do we know for sure?
That's 6 on the flyers. Subject is change.
To be determined. 4 or 6, we'll let everybody know.
Yeah, so they're putting lights in now. Jacob said they got all the tracks pretty much built. So
poles are set, so they're ready to put electric and lights up and speakers. And I could just watch you guys run on it right now. I don't need lights. I don't need speakers. That track's ready to go right now. So it's awesome.
That's the track out durability.
I mean, that's my home track, and I'm excited. It's freaking cool to have that track like that now. I'm excited about it.
And we got Dylan Chilton waiting in the wings. We're getting ready to bring him on now that he's heard the new news. I kind of seen him perk up a little bit whenever Jacob started talking about the track. So Dylan, you out there, bud?
Yep, I'm here.
Let me be the first to say thank you for joining the Crashed It podcast. Some of you guys don't know Dylan. I call him easy money. He's always seems like he's in the running. And last year he ended up coming down to second place. He was really close to being our season champion last year. But Dylan, for all of our listeners, tell us how you got started.
I guess it started back in 2018. It was at Cole County, but it wasn't the fair. I think that's when they used to do Camp Wonderland. And it was the last race of the season, I believe. And you guys know him as the Italian Stallion, but Casey Stegman, the 92 machine, they always go racing all the time. And I was just always kind of around the group, and he's like, you just got to go. So the morning of the race, we drug a car out of the field, didn't know if it even ran, threw battery in it, and it started. So built the car that morning and went racing that evening. Just threw a grater blade on it and painted it orange.
Oh, well, that made it
The
fast.
old-
That's how I started.
20
The old
horsepower,
Italian
too.
stallion, he's like our recruiter. Everybody
Yep.
says he's the one that got him started.
Oh yeah, he got Slim Shady, not so Slim Shady in the game too, and ever since then we're hooked.
Yeah, having a little bit of problems last week at New Bloomfield.
Yeah, he's been having some troubles with that engine, so we agreed we're just going to yank it and put a new heartbeat in it and try to run it again.
I was gonna say everybody's been telling me he's a really good mechanic, but I kept seeing the car on the trailer, so I was kind of wondering.
Yeah, I don't think even the best mechanic can fix that bad of a head gasket. That sucker's blown.
Oh, he's trying to run with the blown head gasket.
Oh yeah, he changed the oil right before he went to that race, and it was already looking like a glass of milk.
Yeah.
It was done for.
So, what do you think about hearing about Eldon?
I'm pretty excited, really, because normally I'm not a big fan of Eldon. I hate going to that track.
It's because
But now that it's bigger, we can get out and run. I'm kind of excited.
Yeah,
Oh, you're
Eldon
gonna
has
have
been
plenty of
notorious
room
for
to
car,
now.
everybody getting messed up because it was so tight.
Oh yeah, it's tight.
Yeah, so
not
maybe-
anymore.
yeah.
Nope, not no more.
It's
I'm about to
huge.
drive out there tonight to go look at it.
It's awesome. It's awesome. You guys are going to be excited when you pull up, I promise.
And
Can't
I,
wait.
As you can tell.
I might drive over there after this podcast. Pod.
Yeah, it's big.
So Dylan, congrats on winning last week.
Thank you.
One thing I've noticed is, and just looking back, I'm kind of a nerd whenever it comes to this stuff. So I have all of the stats and stuff. But man, you are the king of hot starts. So let's walk back. 2020, the first show of the year. I think that's when you broke your wrist. Was 2020.
I ran one race, and that was in Russellville. And then after that race, we were testing to get ready for the next race, and I shattered my whole arm, my humerus. So that put me out for the season.
Yeah. So 2020, you came out in Russellville that first show and you got 6th place. So, top 10 finish. The next year you come back, you're healed up. You took 2020 off. So next year, your first show, you get 2nd place. And then the second show of 2021, you ended up winning. So, you obviously first place in points after 2 shows. And then this year, the first show of Russellville, you ended up 3rd place. And then, this last show, you ended up winning. So, man, those first 2 shows of the year, you're the guy to beat.
That's what all the guys were telling me. I wasn't even going to drive New Bloomfield, and they're like, "Oh, you're driving." I'm like, "No," I said, "Blaine needs a fair shot at driving too, because I kind of stole his car in Russellville on the home opener." And they're like, "No, you're driving." I said, "No, I don't need to drive." They're like, "You're easy money. You're driving." So I'm like, "All right, I'll get behind the wheel, I guess." And they convinced me into driving and brought home the win.
Yeah, and you always drive to race. That's one thing I've noticed about you. A lot of guys, they'll see a car slide in front of them, they might just take out their whole rear end. But
Yeah.
you're right there sliding along with them and trying to find your way around them. And I think it pays dividends to your finishes and the longevity that you get of your cars.
Yeah, I try to play some dodgeball out there. I can normally tell when someone's gunning after me. I can see the wheels turning my way and spinning. So if I know it's going to be the front tires, I just try to get just enough to where they hit my door. And most time they regret it more than I do. So
You didn't have at the last race last year.
What's that?
You didn't have anyone going for you the last race.
No, that was about the cleanest race I've ever had.
Where's your favorite track at?
My favorite track used to be Boonville. I ran that twice, and I ended up winning it the last year they had. I passed Nate last lap at that track also. I kind of hooked him sideways. That was before we became teammates, and passed him on the last corner also. So Boonville was my favorite, but since we don't run there no more, Russellville is definitely my go-to. Russellville treats me really good. I tend to do really good at Russellville.
Yeah, you
Yeah,
are
you have
hard to
that
beat in
chance,
Russellville for sure.
But
So you
yeah,
had
I
another
just
close race with Nate and Boonville, and then this last one, you edged him out again. He's got to start looking over that shoulder a little bit more.
well, after the race was over, when we crossed the finish line, I knew it was me and him. And kind of as the checkered was waving and Jacob was pointing, our hands were out the window just cheering. And me and Blaine was riding with Nate, so my driver door was with his passenger door, and we were high-fiving before the cars could even stop. And then just shut them off. And it's kind of a cool moment when, looking back now, DBR finished first through fourth, and we all kind of joined right there in the middle and kind of congratulated everybody. So it was a cool night, kind of meeting in the middle.
Let's talk about DBR a little bit. So for our listeners at home, what's that even stand for?
It's Dylan and Blaine Racing.
And as DBR, do you guys offer any kind of like builds or anything? Someone that's trying to get into figure eight, or?
Yeah, we build cars for people. We got 3 cars in line right now waiting to be built. So we're trying to get mine done, and then we got 2 more after that that's in line. I'm not giving any names out because I'll let them burst that bubble if they want to. But yeah, we have a bunch of people approach us, and people's like, well, how much is it to build a car? I'm like, well, that's a really vague question. Like, how much do you want done? I said, it could cost from $800 all the way up to $4,000. Like, how much you want to spend? We can give it to you, but you might have to open that pocketbook up a little bit.
Yeah, and last year, we did the officials race.
Yeah, I remember.
I got to experience your guys' hydraulic steering setup, and I thought that was really cool.
Yeah, that's the best thing we've ever done. Granted, because I broke my arm, so it's a lot easier on when the tire shots come. You don't feel it in the steering wheel no more. So that was one thing Dad said. He's like, you're not driving no more unless you have hydro steering. So if
that race was real.
No longer.
Hey, it wasn't rigged.
Yeah, he loves to bring up that race any chance he sees it open.
We got piece of shit cars, and he got the best one. Yeah,
I knew that was
driving a bicycle. Yeah,
I knew that was going to get brought up, but he messaged me the next day and said, "Hey, thanks for the opportunity." So I was more than happy.
Appreciated everybody.
Yeah,
I was more than happy to come out there and shit whip it one more time.
Dylan, I got a question for you. What drives you to keep going and keep getting better? I mean, why don't you just quit now that you got second last year, you've been winning races? What keeps you going?
Oh, I just like having fun, which I know a lot of people say, oh, I'm out there to have fun, but I do like it in the pits, just walking around talking to everybody. You see more and more people, and then there's some new people coming in, like Dawson Gump. He finished 4th on that opening night at Russellville. He's pretty new and not so Slim Shady. Seth, as some people call him, he's pretty new into it. So we got him a car built up, and he brought it to New Bloomfield and performed really well, actually. So I was happy with his first race in a decent car. But I just like having fun and showing people it's not a fluke that I can win. Some people says it's a fluke, but I have fun with it, so I'll just keep on going.
With your track record, I don't know if anyone can call it a fluke.
I just enjoy doing it. And and now that we got the All-American Kyle Wardenhausen on the team and Dylan Bronner, it's a lot of fun going to the race with all those guys and working it all in the same shop, not doing it by myself no more. So it's pretty easy.
So do you all wrench on each other's cars, or how's that work?
Yeah, we all work on everybody's. All the cars are parked in the same shop, and we treat them cars almost better than we do our daily drivers. The daily drivers sit outside and the cars stay inside.
Dylan does more than wrench on him. He drives other people's cars.
Yeah. I try to drive them. I sometimes break them, but I sometimes can do good with them. But Blaine was nice enough to let me drive the 56 car. So because we didn't have 02 ready. So it worked out good. But I told him, I said, the vacation was nice. We did good in it, but I'm ready to be back home in 02. So we got to get it done.
Where'd you get your number from? 02. Is that your number or?
So 56. So way back when Blaine was the 13K and I was 99. So with the 56, we kind of put those two numbers together and then divided it by two of us, because when we first started, there's two of us. So that's where 56 came to. And then the 02 number just came with, that's just the second car we built. So we just threw 02 on it.
So we can look for 03 and 04 here in the next 4 or 5 years.
We tried to change the numbers, like 1K. Nate drove 1K for a while. We tried to change that, and that was bad juju. So we're letting everybody keep their own numbers from here on out. We changed Nate's back to 20.8 for New Bloomfield, and he was out there whooping everybody. So I say we're gonna let everybody keep their own numbers, because he was out there whooping up on everyone.
Yeah,
and that'll help fans too. Follow you guys around.
Yeah.
Jumping in new cars all the time.
Yeah, we try to stay in our own car, but sometimes back wheel falls off, or like Casey, the car didn't start. Sometimes we gotta just better our odds and hop in a new car.
What do you mean by fans? Is it'll help keep that announcer easier to follow you?
Yeah.
That too. You got sponsors you want to thank for, or anyone that you want to thank for letting you do what you do?
We don't have any sponsors. We just kind of ride solo on the pocketbook with each other. We kind of help each other support it. But of course, Nate at Nathan's Tires, he does all of our tires for us and hooks us up pretty good. And then of course, Blaine, we wouldn't be there without him, and he can build one bad car. So without his building skills, our cars wouldn't hold up like they do. He knows his stuff, and he ain't gonna stop. And then
He's a good one.
Go ahead.
He's a real welder.
Oh yeah, he's real. Yeah, he's the best builder I know out there. So I'm glad I got him in my corner. He's one of my real good buddies. So, and then for Dylan Bronner and Kyle joining the team, for having faith in us to let them get a car together. So that's real nice too. And then of course, Dad, for letting us build everything in his shop, which he gives us real cheap rent. So if we didn't have a shop, we wouldn't be able to build nothing.
Just need to clean up those walls.
Yeah, Blaine caught the car on fire. They turned black.
I was talking about that red and white junk on behind you.
Oh, behind me? There ain't nothing wrong with that.
So are you going to run points this year, or what's your plan for the year?
No, I don't plan on running points. I just if I got the weekend open, we're going racing. So I'll make it to quite a few of them, but there might be a couple I won't go to, but I don't know which ones that is. But if something pops up, then might have to go on a vacation instead of go racing maybe.
Oh, the drivers will love to hear that.
Oh yeah, I'm sure.
They might have a chance.
Hell, they got a chance every week.
Oh yeah.
But no, last year, coming off the broken arm, I got second and then that first, and I didn't even plan on running points that whole season until it's about maybe 4 races left. I'm like, well, maybe I'd try to run for points, maybe. And I never had intentions running points. My main goal last year, I told everybody before the season started, I said, I just want to place in one race. And straight off the rip, I did it opening night. So I said, from here on out, it's a bonus. So let's go have some fun.
Yes. Are we gonna see you at Eldon?
Yeah, I'll be at Eldon. I'll be there. And their whole crew will be there. So, well, we got to be there now, hyping up that big track.
I'm gonna go look at it.
That's my job.
Yeah, we got to be there now. I like big tracks, except for California. Every time I go to California, I'm pulling the engine that night after. Every time I go, I pull the engine. So,
Yeah, it'll be interesting to see, what's competing at Eldon. There's so many new drivers to this sport, and do you feel like it ever gets any harder for you, or is it just you just get out there and do the same thing and see equal results?
oh, it's tough every night, but I just go one race at a time. If I don't make the heat, I just go to the B and then go to the B and then hopefully go to the feature. Starting in the feature, I don't care where I start, front or back. Once I get to the feature, I tell everybody my hardest part is the heat. I hate the heat. Put me in the feature, I'm real comfortable. But a lot of people are like, you're crazy. What are you talking about? But I'm just comfortable in the feature.
Did you pick up on that, Jonathan? He said, just a long way of saying nothing gets harder for easy money.
The hard part is getting there because cars are so fast. You're hung up for a half a second in the heat race, you might as well just plan your way to the B because cars are too fast.
Well, that's what we're seeing in the features. If you get hung up for just a second, you're back 6 spots and it's hard to recover from that. So
yeah, so on that tire in New Bloomfield, like where we entered the track, that big old pile up where pretty well the whole field was stuck up. When about that time happened, Nate was actually behind me about to lap me, and I kind of drove up the wall a little bit and kind of around the outside, and I was about the only one that broke free. And I think James Fisher kind of got out of it too. And so I broke free, and me and him were just out there on a daisy drive until we came back around, and that let me catch back up to Nate. And then, of course, he pulled back away a little bit. And on that last corner, I'd seen him get the white when I was coming across the middle. And then circling the tire where the white flag was, I saw, I want to say it was Burton, I think, kind of pushed him a little wide. So Nate had to go on the outside out there in that loose stuff in the mud. And so I seen him go way out, and then I kind of hooked it in tight, and I was going to give it to him, but he left the inside way too open. All I had to do was turn. I was going to just let him turn the corner and go, but he swung that last one a little wide. So it was easy just to turn and hit the gas.
yeah, it was a hard angle that he took coming across the center because he
Yeah,
had to get so wide. He was trying to get back across.
Yeah, getting pushed out there is tough.
Yeah, and one thing about the heats, like you were saying, if you mess up for a second, you could lose your spot. But it seems like it's just the direction that this sport's moving is, three, even like 5, 6 years for sure, but even like 3 or 4 years ago, there may have been 2 or 3 cars on a lead lap. Whereas now, like this season, I think there was 7 or 8 cars on the lead lap at Bloomfield. I think there was around 8 or 9 in Russellville. Like, so it's just, there's so many cars finishing the race and finishing on the lead lap that, just little, the minor stuff really, really means a lot more, it seems like.
Yeah, it does. And hell, back in the day, kind of rule of thumb was if you're driving on the trailer, you got a good chance of being in the money, and that's a win already pulling on the trailer. But anymore, half the field's pulling on the trailer at the end of the night anyway. So
yeah,
people want more. So You want more?
Well, in the hobo class, that's probably going to be we're going back to the old school. It might
Yeah.
be whoever pulls off the track is your winner. But.
Yeah, no, that's even before my time. I've only been racing for like 3 years, so I've been in it just a short bit, not too long.
So do you like the longer races? Do you like the shorter races? What do you prefer? Do you like, because if anybody that don't know, if we pay $1,000 to win, it automatically takes the race to 20 laps. Any of our other races are 16 laps. So that's just for everybody that don't know. But what do you like?
It doesn't matter. I mean, the car likes the shorter laps because they tend to get a little hot, but I mean, that steering just makes it so easy. I could run 40 if we have to. The steering makes it, you don't have to fight it nearly as hard, but either one, it don't make me no difference. Starting from the back, it gives me that last corner to make a pass if we run 20. But it doesn't matter too much.
Yeah, you needed all 20.
Yes, I did. Yep, but no, it don't make me much difference. And before we pulled out into the feature, you're walking around to all the cars saying 20 laps, 20 laps. And I said, huh? Like I had to make sure I heard you right. I'm like $1,000, 20 laps? Or you just throwing a kink in the game? You're like, no, we had some extra money coming from people. I was like, perfect, let's go. But if they're listening, I like to thank the people that threw in some extra money to bump that up. That keeps the drivers coming back with those payouts, and paying farther down the list. That gets a lot of drivers coming too.
Yeah. We thank you, Dylan, for spending some time with us tonight. Good luck at Eldon, and we'll see how the rest of the year goes. See if you end up running for points or if you just decide to run whenever you can.
Awesome. Well, thanks for having me. I really appreciate it.
Yep.
Thanks, Dylan.
We'll see you later.
See ya.
Thank you.
All right, we're back with number 30, the black and orange car from Raymore, Justin Albin. Justin, let me be the first to say thank you for joining us on the Crashed It podcast. Can you kind of tell our listeners how you got started?
Yeah. First of all, thank you guys for letting me join on and come on and kind of speak on my history with it and everything. Thanks for having me, guys. I appreciate it. I've this is my second go at the figure eight racing with you guys, and or for our Tri-County area, basically. And I first started with my brother-in-law. I just out of high school. Always as a kid would go to to the county fairs and the festivals and stuff, Apple Fest, and going to the Montauk County Fair, and I was like, man, that looks like so much fun, and then I finally had the courage, to kind of like, all right, I'm gonna do this. So got to talking to my brother-in-law, and he's like, you know what, I just so happen to have a car. We just need to drop a fuel pump in it, gut it, and we can go. And then we done that when I would say I was about 18. Yeah, 18, first summer out of high school. And then we ran Plymouth Sundance and ran for Gary. We had that car for about 2 years. And then, kind of got out of it after that car, didn't really buy one. And then moved out here to KC, got married, had kiddos and stuff. And then I got an opportunity to get a E-mod, ran that for a couple years up here. And then went to one of your guys' shows, and I'm like, yeah, I'm trading back into it. So I got off the circle track, and I found me a car online and got it built up, and blessed enough to kind of still have it today and running it right now for full for points. So that's kind of a little bit of my background, how I kind of got into it, and that itch came back and I just had to get back into it.
Well, we're glad that you did. And you kind of tell our listeners like how far you have to drive just to come to our shows.
Yeah. So, like I said, I grew up in the Tri-County area with you guys. Went to high school at Tipton. But I met my wife up here in Kansas City. We now currently reside about 25 minutes south of the city. I live in Raymore, Missouri. So it's about 25 minutes from Lee Summit, 25 minutes from KC. So it takes me about an hour evens drive if I don't have to stop for fuel to just make it to Sedalia. So just to kind of give you a timeline on that. So the Bloomfield was a pretty decent haul.
So on average, so New Bloomfield, how long did it take you just to get from like your place to New Bloomfield?
Just to get to New Bloomfield, if I was to drive straight time, it probably would take me about 2 hours, 40 minutes if I drove straight through. But my best buddy Guy, who does a lot of my mechanicing, a lot of my wrenching stuff, we kind of do 50-50 on like the welding, metalwork and stuff like that, as far as like what we put on the car, like for, to fit rule spec and stuff. But anything like wiring, he kind of takes care of that. He lives in St. Martin's, just on the edge of Jeff City. So I went down the night before, and he pulled my car from there. He helps me out quite a bit. Actually, he's got my car now, and he's gonna haul it from St. Martin's down to Eldon for me, so I didn't have to pull it all the way back. We help each other out quite a bit,
Yeah,
That's cool.
That's still
Yeah.
wild. 2 hours and 40 minutes for, posted $700 payout. I know it went up to 1,000, but that's a lot of time, a lot of money. We appreciate the hell out of you making the trip.
Yeah, I appreciate you guys,
Multiple times.
the direction you guys are, taking the sport, you guys do a lot for the drivers, and you guys are doing an amazing job for the show, and make it that much easier on us to make a decision on, fuel up, let's go,
Oh,
yeah. So for the race at New Bloomfield, you're kind of saying we should have a award for the longest travel.
Yeah, I was I did mention it. I was kind of being a little satire with it, but hey, if that comes to light, I think I stand a pretty good chance at that one.
That just shows the dedication that some of you guys have just to drive that far. I mean, especially with the level of competition that it's not like you're going down to race to where you think you're guaranteed the win or in the money. I mean,
Yeah,
it's crap.
absolutely. The last 3 years have been phenomenal in all teams, and group of guys that are together, and really like changing the stars on like how we build cars, programming, having motors done and tuned. Man, the sport has grown so much, and when I got back into it, to be honest with you, I put an assist bar behind the bumper, added one on top of it, and and you guys still see my car. I've got the old school steel bump rails bolted to the outside, like when Gary had his rule set, and I had a single post when I first started that thing, and got out there like you had mentioned on a podcast before, Josh. Anytime you get in the heat with Wes Jordan, make you want to think about adding metal in your cage.
Oh, that's funny.
Yeah. So do you have a favorite track that you like to go to?
Well, I am going to have to say Sedalia because it's my cheapest fuel bill. But to be honest with you, in times past, I don't know what it is, but I've had a lot of success at the Versailles track, like just heats, bees. I've won a couple mains there. I won one fair and one Apple Fest when we had that first car. So I think it's just a lot to do with the memories. But as far as like very racy, I like California and Sedalia.
Brazil is my favorite track too, so I get that.
Yeah, I don't know. It's just something about it, man. It just that track. I don't know. It just does it for the emotions. I think a lot of it has to do with that emotional history, you know.
Well, it wasn't too emotional time to me last year whenever we were getting down.
Well, it didn't disappoint as far as being eventful, that's for sure. I'm almost glad I didn't qualify in the B. It was nice to kind of get dry and be able to watch some guys get crazy out there in the A. It just turned into an absolute pond once they bladed it, you know.
Oh yeah,
Yeah, it was not fun at all.
Yeah.
So you talk about that itch. Can you explain, itch to the people that have no idea?
Right. So it's just like a lot of your, like anybody that's ever been like in athletics, like that's like the closest, or if you're a big sports fan, like when if you're a Chiefs fan, I know a lot of us guys are, whenever the Chiefs made the Super Bowl, we got Patty Mahomes and all that stuff. Just that like raw internal excitement that just gets your heart ticking. That's what gets me going whenever Derby season comes around. And man, when you don't have a car, and I literally could not come watch if I didn't have my car. It would, like, I couldn't stand it. Like, I couldn't be around it, couldn't be near the pits. I just wouldn't be able to. I'd be pacing, watching, just knowing that my car was broke, not fixed, or I would be on Facebook the next day trying to find a cavi, you know, or trying to find my next build. I'm serious. And that's when I came to those two shows I was talking about earlier, and that's that itch, and it just lit a fire. Got to searching, found that neon, and for a couple $100, and got it, and just went to town. And just that, I don't know, that feeling of fulfillment, you know, like I felt, almost kind of felt whole again. Basically, you guys know how it is. I know you guys take a step back in that, you know, doing the promotions for the figure eight racing. So I know your Derby game's been getting bigger and on point, and I saw you guys do run up in Topeka not too long ago, and Jake came up with the W. So that was cool. So you guys know what I'm talking about. It's just, you know, that thing, that addiction that gets you going. Whatever hobby it is. Like a lot of us, you know, also hunt when we were kids. You remember our first deer kill and harvest. You know, it's that kind of itch, you know.
Yeah, I've never been a hunter. I just like to build cars. So
Yeah,
no, I never hunted.
Blizzard Bash is opening weekend of deer season usually, so we don't have time for that.
Right, I hear you there.
But yeah, I totally get the itch thing, and like for me, it was just competing to try and be the best. So we were in athletics as kids. I got these two plus another brother. We were always competing, you know, at everything we did, and it's just that competitive spirit of I want to be the best at this. And if, like you were saying, if I go and watch, like Jacob ran Carnage and he ended up winning, I was like, if I was out there, I'd took him out. Like, it's just that competitive spirit of just, you know, you want to be the best at all times. So
yeah, absolutely.
Also, it's also chasing that butterflies in your stomach feeling, like, you know, you can't really get anywhere else, it seems like. So.
Yeah, and it seems like that, like you said, that butterfly feeling or that like itch per se, you 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 can't satisfy it until you get that first corner in, until you know that first heat, that first hit, that first awesome wheel shot, and then you're like, yeah, there it is. That's that feeling.
Right.
Yeah, so a lot of people so I get the itch too, but there's been times where I've been at Jacob's house and it's been a while since he's got the derby or something. Like, hey, so I had a dream. I was driving Lumina and I crashed it into somebody, or like he dreams about.
Yeah, I hear you, man.
It's fun. We put a lot of pressure on ourselves, but that, anymore it's like a relief anytime you get a win. But it's fun. And I got a question for you. What is there one driver that you just hate being in the heat with, or?
To be honest with you, no. There's nobody that I really don't like being in a heat with. There's a few that I tighten the seatbelt a little bit tighter. We spoke of that earlier, or that I put a little bit more mental thought in the lineup, rolling up like, all right, I know where this guy's at. You know, I know he's going to be fast. I'm trying to like position myself and what I know my car capabilities are currently with the shape that it's in and the where it's at compared to other builds. And I know what they're bringing to the table, and I just try to like think ahead, especially when I get up to the lineups while the heat before us or the bees before us are indifference going on, and just try to kind of think like, okay, first 2 laps makes a lot in a figure 8 race. You can go from last to second in one turn. You can go from second row, first row, outside to dead last in one turn. So it's just like positioning your nose just right and kind of just really looking at who's in front of you, knowing their driver style, tendencies, stuff like that, to try to put yourself in the best position. Because hands down, I know I don't have the fastest car, but that doesn't mean that I don't have, the driver vision and knowledge and experience, equal to some of our top drivers, to at least put myself in a competitive position, and that's mainly what kind of goes through my head. Not necessarily any fear of any driver, but just trying to, make the cut to get to move on, to make the show.
Yeah, and we kind of got to see that firsthand in Russell. You up to the B and drove the B, got to come up through the A.
Yeah, that was a really fun night. I got to get on the track 3 times and the one position out of a top 10. But hey, we'll take it. As beat up as the car was by the time we got there, I was just tickled to death to come from, starting dead last in a heat to front row of a B and holding on to a transfer. That's all you can ask for sometimes, depending on like what happens to your car and stuff like that. You just never know what you're going to run into.
Do you got any sponsors or any people you want to thank on here?
Yeah, absolutely. First and foremost, I want to thank my wife for letting me spend equal fuel and build money. She's great, man. We've got a beautiful home up here in Raymore, and I always make sure in the wintertime during inclement weather she's got a bay to pull in. But I'm not gonna lie, I got 3 cars in the bay. I got a fresh build that I'm still doing some wiring on. So I've got my neon. I've got a 95 Taurus show that's completely built. I just got to finish some wiring on it. Dylan White's going to help me out with that after the Eldon show. And I've got another circle track car that I'm going to transfer the cage into figure 8. And then I would like to thank my buddy Guy. Like I said, he helps me trailer the car. He helps me, put money, his own money into the car. He mechanics a lot for me, does all my wiring. Really helps me pull weight, getting the car ready. Each and every show. This is the first season that I'm going to try to run points. And if it wasn't, for my missus letting us, wrench all hours of the night and Guy giving me a hand, there'd be no way that we could run for points this year and make all the shows. So I want to thank those two first and foremost. And I'd like to thank my sponsor, Hometown Cafe out of Syracuse, Missouri. My mom and my aunt are co-owners of that little mom and pop cafe down there. They've been treating me right. They make sure I get to every show, make sure I'm fed each and every time I'm coming and going, passing through. They take care of me and the kiddos on our way down. They helped me have a big jump start this year financially, and got me set and got me going this year, and got me into Russellville on time. If it wasn't for them, I wouldn't have been able to do it.
What was the name of that restaurant?
Hometown Cafe. They're in Syracuse, Missouri, right on Highway 50. They're on the east side of town.
We'll have to stop in on the way to Sedalia and eat some breakfast.
Yeah. Stop in and talk to Loretta, my mother, and she'll get you guys fixed up with a good meal on the way, and have to stop and grab lunch before you guys go and get set up.
For sure.
Definitely will.
Hit me up, guys, and I'll let you know. I'll let her know when you guys are going to be coming through.
Yeah, for sure. We always like to support the businesses that support our drivers, for sure. So
absolutely.
Did I hear you say you got some fresh stuff?
Yes. So
no
I've got
neon?
Pardon?
Said no more just Justin and neon.
Oh no. No, I was getting the doors off to put the cage in, and I got into some wiring, and I think we've set off the anti-theft in it. So now I've got no fire. So me and Guy have been trying to get some schematics on it and stuff. We've been looking into it a little bit, but I hit Dylan up last couple races, and he's gonna if we can't get it figured out here in a couple weeks after Eldon, I'm gonna get it down to his shop, and he's gonna see if he can get it wired up, get it hot wired for me, so we can get some power into the coil pack and get some fire back in it. But it's fully built, ready to go. We just got to get through this wiring issue. That was going to be my points car, and the neon was going to be my backup car. But like I said, the neon needed a lot of work, and mom and auntie at Hometown Cafe came through big for me financially, because I'd put everything into the Taurus. And then when I got to putting the doors back on, and I had to mess with a little bit more wiring, and I said it's got it was a luxury edition. It's got keyless entry and all that, and getting that back in there, I boogered something up. So that one got put to the back burner, and backup car became main car real quick.
Does that Taurus have a kill switch in the back of it?
It has the rollover switch, if that's what you're thinking of, and I've already it doesn't have a kill switch, but it's got that old traditional late 80s early 90s Ford rollover switch, and we've got that all wired direct. So that's not the case, to be honest. I think it's something in the dash that we've got set off on the driver's side underneath. We're gonna have to get in there a little bit, and hopefully it's something simple, man. Hopefully run 1-2 wires, get some 12-volt hot back to the coil pack, and maybe it'll fire up. So hopefully it's simple. If not, like I said, I'm gonna get it down to Dylan, talk to him a little bit. He seems pretty confident that he can get it going for us. And big shout out to him, man, for being willing to, help out another driver just to get somebody else on the track. That kind of goes to what Landon was saying whenever he was on. when we're out there on the track, man, it's every man for himself, or, every team against, every other team. But man, when it comes down to getting everybody on the track and in intermission and in between, there's not a single driver that wouldn't let me borrow a tool. There's not a single driver I wouldn't let borrow a tool or wrench on their car if they asked for it, needed it. We all like to see each other get out there on the track, and that's just, it's a big family ordeal. It's a brotherhood, the whole derby world, figure eight racing, derby, compact, full size, it's a really big brother and sisterhood,
Yeah,
Are you gonna put your buddy in a car or what?
My buddy Guy.
Yeah.
Yeah, man. He rode with me quite a bit the last 2 years. He hasn't rode with me yet. He prefers to, just kind of do the hauling, doing the tinkering, doing the build kind of thing, doing the garage stuff. Just the hangout time in the garage, turning wrenches. He gets a little bit more, his personality kind of, gets a little bit more excited about that than kind of getting behind the wheel. And I'm the complete opposite. I hate when we have to wrench and weld, and I don't mind welding so much, but I ain't much of a mechanic. I'll tell you that. I'm a YouTube mechanic at best.
Hey, if it's not for people like that, I mean, everyone needs someone like that.
Yeah, we're definitely, definitely a team for sure, and my his car knowledge and skill set, turning wrenches and getting everything wired properly, and everything, when we gut these things down to nothing and build them up, really helps, so, and I can drive a little bit better than he can. That's why I sat behind the wheel.
I was gonna say I'm looking for somebody to do that job for me, but I better not. I'll have a bunch of people wanting to come over to my house.
Yeah. Yeah, and that's another thing, man. Another big shout out to him. Like I said, he lives out there east side of Jeff City in St. Martin's, and I reside here in Raymore. So we have to really orchestrate and plan. We typically only get one hangout, like one car day in between shows, which is another variable that we tend to juggle really well, and not him willing to jump in his car or truck and drive here and me hauling the car down there and leaving it set if it's a close show within the Tri-County area and stuff like that. Yeah, yeah, man, it blessing to have his help and friendship for sure, man. I wouldn't be able to do it without him, and
Yeah, we appreciate you coming on here. We'll look forward to seeing you in Eldon.
yeah, man. I'm excited to see everybody again. And I got was hitting up Joshua a little bit. I got stuck for 3 laps in my B, and hit him up about some of the wheel rules and stuff like that, because I was looking at some wheel centers and stuff like that, because I think I'm going to jump on the BKT bandwagon and give them a go, because I'm not getting stuck in the mud hole again. I'll tell you that.
Well, Eldon's going to look a lot different from the last time you've seen it. So
I'm excited, man. I'm looking forward to it.
Yep.
Yeah, I'm probably going to go check it out here in a minute. It's still a little bit daylight here, so.
There you go. I think I'm going to have to wait until the 4th to see it, but I'll see it eventually.
I'm not going to drive 3 hours to come check it out, huh?
Nah.
It'll look the same.
If I catch Terry on FaceTime down there, I might get a sneak peek. But that's about the only way I'll see it before the race.
Yeah, he was down there earlier tonight when I went by. We were talking, and he was excited just like I was. So.
Oh man, I'm ecstatic when I heard that news. I'm really looking forward to it. I know it's been a long time in the works and coming, but That has always that town of Eldon in California has always been the biggest crowds, local support for our sport. And it'll be nice to see the drivers, get to experience a little kind of thank you in that regard and getting that, that rework of the track and everything. And it'll just be make the show that much better,
Oh, you're not going to want to. I don't know.
I lost you there for a sec.
You're not going to want to miss this.
Oh yeah, for sure. I'm speaking of that itch, it's coming back.
I think we're all going to get the itch when we see the track.
Oh man, I know. Butterflies and adrenaline will be spiking as soon as everybody gets through pit gate. I'm sure.
But we thank you for taking out your time, and we'll catch up with you later on in the year.
All right, man.
Going.
All right.
See you, Justin.
I appreciate you guys. Thanks for bringing me on. You guys have a blessed evening, and we'll see you in Eldon coming up in a couple weeks real soon.
We'll
See
see you.
you later.
All right,
Thanks.
guys.
All right, that was Justin Albin. He's driving all the way from Raymore, and it just says a lot about someone that's making a 2-hour trip just to come race some of the Lucky 7 shows. That's the kind of passion that, it gets us excited. It always, we always find ourselves in disbelief when we have people that are driving that far just to make sure they put on a show for our fans, and they appreciate what we're doing so much to drive that far. We got to hear from Dylan Chilton and Justin Albin and kind of what's coming up on June 4th. Eldon, Missouri's got a new track for us. It's going to be a wonderful show. We're hoping that we get lots of drivers to come out and drive on the new track. But we thank you all for joining us on this Crashed It podcast, episode number 8. Like I said, thank you to all the supporters that are continuing to support us. Thank you all. See you on the next one.